tomorrow, as you've seen this, it's going to be 2024. And I've got finally one of these block calendars for like the everyday thing. Yeah, I know a lot of other YouTubers I've seen get these and whatnot, but I never got them. But there you go, it's Heartland Trouton. Hey everyone, Dan here, and welcome to the New Year's Eve Q&A, which I didn't do last year, but it's a tradition that I did for about 3 years, so nice to do it again. I think this will be a nice way to round the year off on the channel. There's a last video for 2023. So, for these questions, where do we start? I think the perfect starting point is, first question here, why do pigs in blankets only appear at Christmas? A good question that I don't have the answer for, because they are the best part of they're the best part of Christmas dinner, they are. And I don't know why we don't have them all year round. Like, they're amazing. They're amazing. Next question, how would you recommend getting into watching movies? I don't know, I was thinking about this. I don't really think there's a set way to get into them. I think, yeah, I wouldn't say there's a set way of getting into movies. It's just, if you pick just some random ones that you like the sound of and whatnot, just go for them, watch them, and maybe like kind of, I guess, watch them at a regular pace, I suppose, and that'll probably get you into movies. But you know, the thing is, not everyone is into them. Maybe people prefer like TV shows and whatnot, and which is perfectly fine. But I'm more of a film person. I don't watch many TV shows, if I'm being honest. So it's like, yeah, it all depends on the person, really. Next question, favourite and least favourite season from each Doctor. I will go with the new series Doctors first, and then I will have a look at the classic ones after. So, Jodie Whittaker, favourite Flux, least favourite series 11. Capaldi, favourite series 10, least favourite series 9. Matt Smith, favourite series 5, and least favourite would probably be series 6, maybe a bit of a hot take, but Tennant, or the 10th Doctor I should say, favourite would be series 4, least favourite series 2. Eccleston only has series 1, which is probably the best of New Who. With the classic Doctors, I don't really think I can pick a favourite and least favourite, because some of them I haven't watched all of, and also it'd be kind of predictable. Some of them, like Colin, only has 2 seasons and whatnot, so it's a bit, I don't know, it'd be a bit unfair. But like McCoy, favourite would be season 26. If Colin Baker, though, favourite would be season 22, because that's a really good season. Pete Davison, season 21. I think that's a really good season of his. It's probably the only one that I really love. For Tom Baker, I could probably do a favourite. Like favourite was season 14, and that's my favourite classic Who. And then least favourite, because I've marathon the era, definitely season 15. For John Pertwee, I'd probably say season 10's my favourite. That or season 7. Trouton, probably season 5, and then Hartnell, season 2. Those are like favourites, and then I'm not sure about least favourites, to be honest. Next, a lot of questions from Chris Cagle. Dear Dan, very formal there. How do you like your eggs in the morning? If I have them in the morning, which isn't often, I usually maybe have them lunch or tea, scrambled or fried. 11th Hour or Spearhead from Space? The two best post-generation stories that I've seen anyway. I still haven't seen Power of the Daleks. But in terms of those, I mean, they're both fantastic. They're both really accessible, very rewatchable, really fun, entertaining, very good. But I'm going to give the edge to Spearhead from Space, I think. They're both, I mean, as I say, they're both brilliant, but I think that just tips it a little bit. It's just brilliant, and the Autons are amazing. Pertwee, Unit, Liz, it's all brilliant. And favourite thing on Christmas dinner, I already said it earlier, pigs in blankets. It's just, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Next batch of questions. What are the main films you want to check out next year? So, in terms of, not necessarily like films coming out in 2024, because there's not really many that I know of yet, and it's the start of the year. You're not going to know what comes out, and you're not going to know what you end up watching. So, in terms of films that I want to check out, like all the films I want to check out in 2024, there's 2 sort of main ones I want to watch, and I'll explain the sort of in a minute. 2001: Space Odyssey and The Godfather. The sort of was being with The Godfather, obviously it's a trilogy, no me will end up watching the second and third. But with those films, they're 2 iconic films, obviously, so, you know, often touted as some of the greatest films ever made, and they are films that I've wanted to watch for a long time, but I feel like now, where I'm at now, I'm in a position where I would definitely enjoy them. I know that I'd like them, and I would get a lot out of them. So with 2001, for example, yeah, it's sci-fi, and I've always loved sci-fi, but I've always been more drawn to the spectacle-y sci-fi, like Star Wars, for example. But recently, I've been enjoying a lot more of that kind of slow-paced, methodical, more out-there sci-fi. So stuff like Metropolis, stuff like Blade Runner, I guess Nolan's Interstellar you could throw into that camp. And not just in film, but in literature. I mean, I've read this year the Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which is the novel that inspired the film Blade Runner. But yeah, I feel like now I would get a lot out of 2001 because I like that slow, methodical sci-fi. And then with The Godfather, you know, and again, another iconic film that I wanted to watch for a while, but that one, because I love gangster films, I love crime, I love so many like crime thrillers like Tarantino movies or Fincher films and whatnot. I love, mobster films like Goodfellas, that's one of my all-time favourites. Scarface, another one that I love. Again, outside of film, Jersey Boys, I mean, I think I've made it no secret due to how many songs I play on my videos, how much I love that musical, and I love the Four Seasons, but that musical, it's obviously set during sort of mid-20th century, kind of, that sort of post-war America, that kind of American criminal underworld, and it's got that kind of aesthetic that I like. So I think that's why I'm ready to watch 2001 The Godfather, because even outside of cinema, those aesthetics and those genres appeal to me anyway, so I can guarantee that I would get something out of them. What are your hopes for Shooty's first season? Honestly, I mean, that I may have mentioned it in my Church of Ruby Road video, but I'm really excited to see the possibilities of that, that Next Time trailer. There's so many unique possibilities, so many unique casting choices, some cool concepts like the Beatles episode that looks really cool. The musical episodes look kind of interesting, and there seems to be a real rejuvenation. That's what I got from Church of Ruby Road, definitely, a sense of rejuvenation. Like the Chibnall era, honestly, didn't feel like it was meant to be a big reinvention of the show. It didn't feel like that, other than just having a female doctor. Didn't feel very fresh or new. It just felt like the same old stuff that we'd seen anyway. It didn't really feel like you were doing anything particularly unique with it. And Church of Ruby Road, I think, definitely gave an indication of Shooty and Millie as 15 and Ruby Sunday as a TARDIS duo. I think they're great, and even if the episodes maybe aren't great, I think they'll very much be able to carry it. In the same way that, say, Matt Smith or Capaldi could have some really poor episodes, they would be the saving graces of those stories. I think Shooty could save some of his stories, I think. What are your highlights of the year? It could be personal or in pop culture. I mean, I was thinking about this, in pop culture it's been quite a quiet year, except for like Barbenheimer, but it's either been quite a quiet year or not a particularly great year. We've had obviously the writers and actors SAG-AFTRA strikes, and there's also been the various blockbuster flops from this year. So many movies flopping. I think overall, I think a lot of people kind of want something new, like Barbie, like Oppenheimer, and just seeing different kinds of things and not just the same old stuff that we've seen countless times now. I think that's what I think this year we kind of realised in our movies. And I don't want to get too personal on YouTube, but I have had this year some genuinely great things happen, and that I am, very happy for them. So I won't obviously go into detail because it is personal, but favourite Christmas media which isn't a film, like a TV special or something. The thing is, I don't watch lots of Christmas films anyway. I'll rewatch my favourites, like It's a Wonderful Life, Arthur Christmas, and every year I try to watch a few new Christmas films that I haven't seen before. Like this year I watched The Holiday, the Jack Black, Jude Law, Kate Winslet, that one. I watched that, pretty good. Yeah, I don't tend to watch Christmas films, though those kind of ones, I don't tend to watch them anyway, so picking another bit of media so I guess like the Doctor Who Christmas specials or the Inside Number 9 Christmas specials, maybe like The Devil of Christmas, which is a bit of a weird answer, but it probably would be that. Favourite and least favourite Christmas song? I can tell you what my least favourite is immediately, and it's, okay, maybe not least, but it's definitely the one that annoys me the most when it comes on. It's the Mariah Carey one, All I Want for It. That drives me up the wall, it really does. In terms of like favourites, I probably would go with Ferris in New York by the Pogues. Rest in peace, Shane. And goals for next year: survive, pass my exams and whatnot. But I do have another comment that is sort of asking what your goals for 2024. So I'll probably save like a proper answer for then. So yeah. Next lot of questions. Have you ever watched the 1971 British TV show UFO? If so, any comments about it? I haven't seen it, but I feel like the name rings a bell. Your thoughts on casting Harrison Ford as Doctor Who? Just replace the Millennium Falcon with the TARDIS. Would he have been one of the best Doctors of all time? And perhaps Jack Nicholson as the Master? Jack Nicholson would be a really good... I could see him as the Master. I mean, Harrison Ford's great, but I don't know. I never really thought of him as the Doctor particularly. I did once see this kind of, sort of like April Fool's video. It was like a jokey video of like, what if Doctor Who was an American show, and it was sort of like the history of Doctor Who, but it was, if it was an American show, and they had like certain American actors, so it was sort of, it's like Dick Van Dyke played the second Doctor, or Gene Wilder played the fourth Doctor, or Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker played the fifth Doctor, and they had Harrison Ford as the War Doctor that John Hurt played in the 50th, and I could see Harrison Ford more as that, because he has that more action movie, aggressive sort of, I guess, that personality. I don't really feel like Doctor. He's great though. I love Harrison Ford. He probably would be great doing anything. John Wayne would not accept a role portraying characters who displayed weaknesses. As an aspiring actor, would you turn down a role as a character who displayed traits that you wouldn't want to be associated with? If that's true, then that's really dumb. I mean, one, it's paid work. Like acting, if you're doing it professionally anyway, acting's paid work. So yes, why would you turn it down? And two, the whole point of acting is to be something that you're not. That's the whole point of acting. And even I can even speak myself. Do some of the stuff that I've done in productions that I've been in. I've had to do things that aren't exactly that wouldn't exactly portray you in a good light. You know, that's the whole point of acting. You're meant to be doing things that aren't you, right? But yeah, that's the whole point of being an actor. So if that is true, then that's dumb as anything. What character, if any, from the writings of Charles Dickens would you most like to portray? Consider both good or bad characters. It's probably a bit of a stereotype to say this, but I would love to play Scrooge from A Christmas Carol. That would genuinely be something I'd like to do, because I'm surprised we've never ended up doing that, because that would be one I'd love to do. I think he is such an interesting character. And from an acting point of view, seeing how he progresses is really interesting, and it gives you a lot to do, a lot of range. You can go from really grumpy to really joyful. And I think there's a lot in there. And as an actor, you want to put everything into your performance. So you want to do you kind of want to do everything. So probably him. I think most people would consider Doctor Who to be a family-friendly show, but can you recall any lines that could be taken as for adults only? You don't have to say them, but can you think of any? I mean, I think actually. I guess like in the revived series, particularly like the RTD and the Moffat eras, you get some kind of like innuendos and whatnot, because you know there's like for comedy usually. But I don't know. I can't think of it, because like Doctor Who, they don't really like swear a lot, or say like really, they don't really very explicit, because I don't think Doctor's ever done that, has it? Perhaps not certain lines, but certain moments I think maybe could be sort of pushing it for a family friendly. I think there's a few, like in the 70s during the Tom Baker, they always got flagged for it's not appropriate for kids, and like the Deadly Assassin cliffhanger where the Doctor gets drowned, that caused a bit of a stir back in the day. There's a lot of in the Colin Baker era as well. Like there's Attack of the Cybermen when Lytton gets his hands crushed and you see the blood quite explicitly. It's probably the most overtly violent moment in Doctor Who. Then there's also the Don't Cremate Me part from the Series 8 finale with Capaldi. That I just don't think is at all well judged at all. I think it's not really just for adults. I just think it's just quite misjudged anyway. I think Doctor Who has had it's alluded to darker things as well. I mean, I was thinking just then Waters of Mars, the part where Adelaide Brooke kills herself in the end. Like, I think Doctor Who has alluded to these things, but it's not explicitly showing them. It's keeping the veneer for kids, but it's still alluding to something darker. And final batch of questions. One, who are your favourite YouTubers? I mean, I don't watch a lot of YouTubers these days. I'm not like a dedicated fan of most YouTubers, like especially like Doctor Who YouTubers. Back in the day, like 2020, I'd say probably 2021. There's so many Doctor Who channels I would watch, all the time, and now I don't, because either they've stopped making videos or I just kind of drifted away. And it's not that they. Yeah, it's just things happen, you kind of drift away at points. Yeah. But in terms of now, I like a lot of movie reviewers, so like Schaefer Productions, I always love, Carsten Rundquist, Alicia Gouls, some plenty of great film YouTubers that I try to, they're kind of what I like to watch nowadays. As someone who's been doing YouTube for over 5 years, is there anything that you've learned about the experience that you didn't expect, something that surprised you with running a YouTube channel? I mean, I learned a lot about, making videos. I've evolved a lot with the technical side of making thumbnails, editing, recording, presenting and whatnot. I've learned a lot in that 5.5 years. I think something else as well, I think YouTube is a really great testing ground for me. As an aspiring creator, I want to, create my own media and whatnot. But I think something that YouTube has always taught me is that at this stage anyway, I'm young still, you treat it as a hobby, it's not your job. And I think there are times when maybe I have gone a bit too far and not kept the healthiest sort of YouTube and life balance, and I'll stay up till like stupid o'clock trying to get a video done or trying to meet an arbitrary deadline. And I think that's something I've kind of tried to overcome, especially now I don't have a rigid schedule of you've got to do one video a week or what have you. I don't have that rigid mindset as much now, and that's what I definitely learned to keep in mind. At the moment, it is just a hobby. And I always want to treat YouTube as a hobby. I don't want this to become a job, because it's, you know, I don't really want this to be my job. You're saying you study film at school, so my question is, why? What were / are your hopes from that? Do you want to make films, or have you just always had the passion to study and review them? So I've always loved kind of studying film. I like analysing. I love watching them, obviously, and I mean, DCS Media. I mean, media studies. That was what they did back then, and the film part was always the one that I always enjoyed the most. I never really cared massively for like magazine production. It wasn't really my thing. It was more film. I enjoyed analysing that, and because I enjoy films, I enjoy watching a wide array of films, and I think my ultimate goal is I want to work in that industry. I want to work creatively as a filmmaker and director. I also have quite a visual eye. I'd love to, if maybe directing not, maybe cinematography, because I haven't really talked about this, but I do actually do as a hobby. I do some photography, like sometimes. So I have a bit of visual eye. So I'm quite passionate about that. Yeah, I'm quite passionate about like just visual storytelling, and I think that's what I kind of got, you know, applying these understanding of how films are made and how cinematography and editing can create meaning to an audience, how that can engage an audience. If you know all that stuff, then you can apply it to your own work, and it almost like subconsciously. It's not like, oh, you're thinking, okay, if you got to make sure you use a high angle for this shot to get this meaning, otherwise the film's ruined. No. When you learn all this stuff, it's more subconscious. You sort of, when you make something, it feels right, you know? For example, part of the course we had to make our own short film, which I did like over the summer, and that's what I'm genuinely proud of, actually. I won't put it on the channel, but it's something I am quite proud of. And I did certain things in that it was just, it wasn't me trying to think, or how this camera angle could be like this and whatnot. It just felt right. You know, you didn't necessarily know the meaning when you do it. It just feels right because you've subconsciously learned all of these tricks and whatnot of how film form can create meaning and whatnot. And I guess this kind of flows into your other question, which I kind of linked back to another question earlier. What are your goals for 2024? And it is really to develop my media production skills and film production skills. And I want to start making more of my own things like short films and spoofs and sketches and such. I mean, the thing is with this channel, it is just me doing it, you know. And the few collaborations that I've done with friends in the past, I mean, most of them, they've gone their separate ways now. We don't really speak a lot. And I mean, some of like more newer viewers, you may not even be aware of some of these older collaborations that I did with some friends and whatnot. We make videos and whatnot, but you know, I don't really speak to them anymore. So yeah. Even like me and Ronnie, for example, like we still keep in touch, but we've very much gone our separate ways, and we don't really do video. I mean, he doesn't really do like Ronapar TV videos anymore, so it's a bit, you know, it's changing and whatnot. And I think that's what kind of spurred me on to change my approach this year anyway. As I said in the update video, the past like sort of pre-2022, those past few years were me having a rhythm and really sticking with it. But by 2022, it was just getting really old and samey and tiresome with the Doctor Who rankings and reviews and all that stuff. And the comedy sketches that I was doing, they were kind of coming to their natural end. And it was also kind of coinciding with me starting doing film class and whatnot. And it all just kind of came together. And that sort of part of 2022, sort of the end, just felt right to close the chapter on that part and move forward. And 2023 has kind of been me finding my footing in this new sort of chapter. What do I want to do? And the direction is obviously like film, mainly like film content. It's mainly oriented around that. And then hopefully with 2024, I can sort of, you know, carry on building on that like I did before with my older approach to videos, just building on that. And then eventually, like I did with making my comedy sketches, hopefully trying to make short films and spoofs and such. Because I enjoy making those kind of creative stuff, but I want to do them with other people. I want to have a team of people, and just it's not just me, you know, because it can be a bit, you know, you want to move forward. That's what I want to do. I want to move forward, and I suppose that is ultimately my goal for 2024 with the channel and just with life, really. And on that poetic note, this is the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for sticking with me on this really quite strange year for the channel. It's been very up and down, very inconsistent, but I'm glad that you've stuck with it, and you know, more people subscribing and joining. I'm, you know, very glad to see it. So take care, have a happy new year, and I'll see you in 2024.